You have a deadline in 3 days. You have known about it for 3 weeks. You have done everything except the actual work. You reorganized your desk. You deep cleaned your kitchen. You watched a documentary about octopus intelligence. You now know more about cephalopods than your actual assignment. And now, with 72 hours left, you finally open the document, hating yourself the entire time. You call it laziness. You call it a lack of discipline. You are wrong. You are not lazy. You are scared. And today we are going to talk about what you are actually scared of, because it is not the work. Procrastination is the most misunderstood behavior in modern psychology and the biggest hidden tax on your career and income. We have built an entire self-help industry around time management, productivity hacks, and discipline frameworks. Almost all of it misses the point completely. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotion regulation strategy. You are not avoiding the task. You are avoiding the feeling that the task creates in your nervous system. Until you understand that feeling, every productivity system you buy will fail. You cannot manage your time effectively while your brain is in a state of emotional threat. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain. Your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for executive function, planning, and long-term strategy, is in a tug-of-war with your limbic system, the primitive area responsible for immediate threat response. The task in front of you is not physically dangerous, but your brain has tagged it as emotionally threatening. Maybe it triggers anxiety about your competence. Maybe it triggers boredom that feels like physical pain. Maybe it triggers self-doubt, so intense it feels like shame. Your limbic system processes this emotional discomfort exactly like it processes a physical predator. When your brain perceives a threat, it prioritizes immediate relief over long-term goals. Procrastination is your brain attempting to protect you from emotional pain. It is just doing it in a way that destroys your future. We need to destroy the laziness narrative. Laziness implies a moral failing, but procrastinators are often working incredibly hard. They are just working hard at avoiding the task. The energy spent on procrastination frequently exceeds the energy the task would have required. You exhaust yourself avoiding a 2-hour project. You stay up late worrying about it. You create elaborate systems of avoidance. That is not laziness. That is emotional regulation through displacement. The professional who scrolls social media instead of starting a strategic report is managing self-doubt by seeking cheap dopamine in an environment where they cannot fail. But this comes at a massive cost to your career trajectory and your earning potential. Every procrastination pattern has an emotional core. For some, it is anxiety. The task feels overwhelming, and the uncertainty creates physical dread. For others, it is perfectionism. The gap between their desired performance and their feared performance feels so wide that starting risks confirming their worst fears about themselves. Procrastination protects their self-image by preventing them from producing anything that could be judged. Your brain also suffers from temporal discounting. It values immediate rewards much more heavily than future rewards. A scroll through social media now is worth more to your primitive brain than a completed project next week. The immediate reward of procrastination is emotional relief. The anxiety drops. The self-doubt quiets. That relief is a powerful immediate reward, and your brain will choose it every time over the distant reward of task completion. This is why logic fails against procrastination. Your emotional brain is not making logical calculations. It is making survival calculations. Procrastination creates a self-reinforcing cycle of shame. You avoid the task. The deadline approaches. You finally do the work in a panic, with lower quality than you are capable of. You feel shame about your performance. That shame becomes associated with similar tasks in the future. The next time you face a similar task, you feel the shame before you even start. The cycle repeats. Eventually, procrastination becomes automatic. Worse, it shapes your identity. You start telling yourself you are just a procrastinator. You work best under pressure. You are not a disciplined person. These identity statements are prescriptions. They make the behavior more likely to continue because they remove the possibility of change. If procrastination is who you are, then starting early feels inauthentic. The first step out is to separate the behavior from the identity. You are not a procrastinator. You are a high-performing individual who sometimes uses avoidance to manage specific emotional triggers. Our current environment is a procrastination amplifier. Smartphones provide instant emotional relief at zero friction. Social media is engineered to trigger dopamine release through variable reward schedules. The internet offers infinite novelty, the perfect antidote to task-induced boredom. You are not procrastinating in a vacuum. You are procrastinating in an environment specifically designed by thousands of engineers to offer you emotional regulation on demand, 24 hours a day, right in your pocket. Your brain never had a chance. So how do you stop? Not by trying harder. Not by buying another planner. You stop by addressing the emotion, not the behavior. First, identify the specific feeling. When you think about the task, what happens in your body? Name it precisely. I am avoiding this because it makes me feel incompetent. Naming the emotion engages your prefrontal cortex and reduces limbic reactivity. Second, shrink the task until it no longer triggers the emotion. If writing a report feels overwhelming, commit to writing one single sentence. The goal is not progress. The goal is to reduce the emotional activation enough that starting becomes possible. Third, change your relationship with the feeling. Practice tolerating discomfort. Discomfort is not danger. Anxiety about a task will not kill you. Your brain treats it like a threat because it has never learned otherwise. Fourth, remove friction from the task and add friction to the avoidance. Put your phone in another room. Use website blockers. Make starting easier and procrastinating harder. Fifth, practice self-compassion. Shame makes procrastination worse. Self-compassion reduces the emotional threat that drives avoidance. Sixth, focus on process instead of outcome. The outcome triggers performance anxiety. The process is just the next small step. Working for 10 minutes is less threatening than producing something excellent. Changing procrastination patterns is a rewiring process. Every time you face the emotional discomfort of a task and start anyway, you weaken the neural association between that task and threat. The productivity industry profits from your misunderstanding of this. It sells you apps and courses that treat procrastination as a time management failure. Time management solutions are marketable. Emotion regulation solutions require uncomfortable inner work. They cannot be packaged into a color-coded calendar. The truth is that your procrastination is a signal. It is your nervous system telling you that something feels emotionally unsafe. Ignoring that signal with better scheduling is like treating chest pain with a more organized medicine cabinet. Your procrastination has been trying to help you. It has been protecting you from feelings that your brain genuinely believed were dangerous. It has been a misguided attempt at self-preservation. You do not need to defeat it. You need to thank it for its service and retire it, because you are now capable of facing the emotions that scared you. You are capable of feeling anxious and starting anyway. You are capable of feeling doubtful and producing anyway. Procrastination is not a flaw in your character. It is a feature of your nervous system, operating on outdated threat assessments. The difference between people who procrastinate and people who do not is not discipline. It is emotional literacy. It is the ability to recognize what they are actually feeling, name it, and choose a response that serves their long-term goals instead of their immediate comfort. That ability can be learned. It can be practiced. It can be strengthened. And it starts with a single question, asked with genuine curiosity instead of self-judgment. What am I actually feeling right now? Because once you know the answer, the work becomes possible. Not easy, but possible. And possibility is where everything starts. Subscribe to Human Blueprint Project. Your brain will thank you.